John Madrid with Move In Next, and we also have
Bella Garcia, I'm in the background, guys.
in the background with the voice there on this topic Tuesday. ¿Cómo están amigos? Habla a John Madrid y Bella. Aquí García hablando en este martes de la tema que vamos a estar hablando cada martes, okay? All right, guys, reiterating as well that we like to, come to you guys live on Tuesdays with a topic. And we're going to be, being a lot more consistent. We've had a lot of things going on in the background, which is good things that we'll be announcing on a different day. But again, with Topic Tuesday, we're going to start keeping the content shorter, right, Bella? Like probably about 7 to 10 minutes or so.
Yes.
That way you guys can tune in without having to listen for half an hour. But either way, okay. So Topic Tuesday. Before we switch the screens, this Topic Tuesday is going to be talking about the actual like pads, caliche pads, drainage pads, the benefits and what the purpose of them or what the purpose of these drainage slash caliche pads or drainage pads are for. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to move in and slide into the next.
Oh,
It's all good. Okay. So it says, Topic Tuesday. So la tema de este martes es de los caliche pads. So remember, Topic Tuesday today is talking about the benefits of a drainage pad. So before we switch over, I want to just talk about what a drainage pad is. So, as a matter of fact, you can go ahead and switch over and I'll just kind of talk about it as we go from there. Okay. So, a drainage pad, guys, just to give you, I'm going to use an example of a manufactured home. So, I'm going to go ahead and just use a single wide example. So, like a 16 by 76, which would be a standard like 3-bed, 2-bath, single wide, would have a pad that's 20, so 4 feet wider by 80, and we would center the home in the center. Did you know that, Bella?
no, not like in the center of it.
Yeah, so that's good. We'll see. She's learning, we're learning, you guys are also learning. But the purpose of that drainage pad, right? So we do 4 feet wider, 4 feet longer, and we center it so that it has a 2 foot perimeter. And we make sure that it's got about a 4 inch thickness. Okay. So that, and of course, it's going to talk about here in the first slide. It's about protecting your investment, which is your house. A lot of people, the only place that it's exempt from is from a manufactured housing community. Were you aware of that, Bella?
No.
Yeah. So everywhere else, it doesn't matter if it's in the city or in the county, it is required by state law and it's there to protect your home and your investment. And the reason it's exempt in a community is because when the community got designed, the whole community was built not on a pad, but the drainage system was designed where it would divert water away from the house anyway. Did you know that part?
Yes.
Well,
So
there
I
you
knew the whole idea of it is to get, water and moisture away from the house so it can preserve your foundation and just the overall stability of it.
right. But I'm saying on the park, did you know that that's the only reason that those are exempt?
Oh, no, not why they were exempt.
Yeah. Well, basically, because when they design the infrastructure, it's already designed to divert water away from the thing, which is what the pad does. But in a community, that's the reason it's not required because the whole terrain was already designed for drainage. So that's pretty cool. But okay, so going back to the slide here, it talks about protecting your investment from the ground up. So manufactured housing and even site built homes, you want to have proper drainage, right? You don't want water coming underneath the house or damaging your foundation on a site built home. So I like the way you put it there. You put drainage pad equals simple solution to prevent costly repairs, right? So there's different types of material that can be used. Like she just put on there, engineered gravel, rock pads, caliche pads, chip base. It just really depends on what area you're in and what terrain you have because it can vary. Like out here in West Texas, considering that most of the ground is hard already with rock, they typically will use like a caliche or a chip base on top of that because it's already pretty stable. So it basically just will divert the water away. Now, in East Texas, they have more like clay that shifts. So they'll use more of a gravel base versus a chip base because it needs the additional stability on the foundation. Because, well, I say the stability on the foundation, sometimes people will mistake the pad as a foundation, and it is kind of, but it's really mainly just to divert water away, from an existing foundation or from the home in general. So it does, add, additional stability, Of course, the main purpose is moisture management, the way you pointed out there, so that it doesn't let water seep under the home. Because if you don't have a pad and you're not in a community that was already designed for water to divert away, then of course the more water, especially when it rains, it'll start to, like, your house will become unlevel faster and faster, which can cause cracking inside the home and things like that. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so why drainage matters, and I kind of went into it a little bit, but it talks about, uneven foundation settling, because if there's not a drainage pad underneath, and every time it rains, and the house will kind of dip a little bit over here or dip a little bit over here, and the more that it dips, well, the more issues it's going to cause to your foundation, which of course we don't want to happen, right? And then if it's diverting water away, like you put on there, mold and mildew, because water, especially if it just sits there, it's going to at some point mold, right, Bella?
Yeah.
And nobody wants mold under their house or anywhere near their house. So that's one of the main reasons why you wouldn't want it, besides the fact that you don't want your foundation to be unstable. And then it says, damage to skirting or crawl space, which is super important as well, because, people invest good money in their different skirting, right?
Yeah, easily. And it's like you don't want that to rot away or you don't want it to grow, just unevenness within the ground from that.
That's right. That's right. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So it says the benefit. So it prevents the skirting and settling of the house, which we've covered, which is good, right? So it'll keep the life of the house longer, the curb appeal looking better without damage. And then it says, protects against moisture buildup under the home, which again is very important. And then one of the things that I like to point out as well is, on whenever we set a house on top of the drainage pad, did you know that we put what they call like a vapor barrier?
No. What is
Yeah.
that?
So a vapor barrier is like, it's basically some plastic, but it's commercial grade plastic that is set on top of the pad right before they put the blocks and everything, that they start to block level and tie down the house. That way, because even though the pad is diverting moisture away, if you think about it, water still soaks in. So from the very bottom, moisture will still get under the pad, but the vapor barrier stops weeds or any kind. It keeps the moisture in the ground versus allowing it to get under the house and where the mold and everything could build up. So that's
Oh,
like an
okay.
additional benefit there of the drainage pad, and the fact that we set our homes with the vapor barrier to prevent moisture from seeping through the pad. So it's almost, imagine if it comes up to the pad and then it goes back down.
Mhm.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. All right. So then it says cost savings in the long run. All right. So again, guys, keep in mind that you guys can put, a comment on there if you want these, so we can email them to you. As far as the actual, slides themselves that Bella has done such a great job of creating for us. So I'm going to talk about, like, not necessarily every point on there, but point out the fact that the cost savings in a pad, again, is number one, stopping you from having to get your home re-leveled more often, because you're not worrying about the unlevelness of the foundation. And then on top of that, if you have a tape and texture home, which we sell quite a few of those, if your house doesn't have a pad, which we always install it on them, but as it becomes unsettled or unlevel, the drywall will start to crack. And that even happens in mansions or site built homes. Like, as the foundation starts to become unlevel somewhat, that's costly repairs there that are cosmetic, but also there's no need to have it there, right? I mean, if you really think about it. All right, so let's move on to the next one. All right, so it says protect your home from the ground up. I love that, because even in the Bible it talks about, don't build your house on a blank foundation. What does it talk about? Do you know?
No, I don't.
All right.
Educate me.
There you go. I'll educate you. I'll drop some knowledge. So you don't want to build a house on sand, because obviously if you built a house on sand, it's going to sink, right, or blow over as soon as the first storm comes in. You want to build it on a solid foundation, and that's where protecting the house from the ground up comes into place. Because number one, if you're building it on a foundation that's, or say a foundation, let's just call it a caliche pad or a drainage pad for the time being, and we use chip base or gravel or whatever it is, you're setting your house on a foundation that is sturdy. and that is not going to shift over time or be affected by waters, because the whole purpose of a pad is to reduce the amount of shifting, right?
Yeah, easy.
And if you were to build a house on sand, it's going to shift a lot more than if you build it on a rock or a solid
Mm,
foundation. So
definitely.
that's talking about us, protecting your house from the ground up. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Nice.
All right. So here, guys, matter of fact, you can send us to the closing remarks, because right here we're going to point out of how you can contact us. So you can call or text us at 432-201-1105. Recuerda que si nos puedes hablar al número abajo, el 432-201-1105. Los martes le vamos a traer un tema diferente para, pues, darle información sobre las casas móviles y regulares. Again, guys, just reiterating that Tuesdays, we're going to start to keep all of our things a little shorter. We're about a minute over what our goal was on the 10 minutes, but we're going to educate you guys on different topics every Tuesday. If you have a certain topic you'd like us to cover, just leave a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like it, you share it. Make sure you look at the top of the description of this video, okay? Because we have the application link. Again, we don't charge for the applications, so we can get you a pre-qualification. The second link is going to be about the Move In Next University, which you're also going to be able to see the QR code here. And then lastly, make sure to follow us on all of our different platforms. You might be watching this on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, whatever the case may be. Make sure to follow us on all of those, because the idea is going to be to have Topic Tuesday. What is Wednesday?
Walkthrough Wednesday to show off all of our inventory that we can move you in ASAP.
That's right. And then
And
we're
then,
going to be doing the podcast Thursdays, right? Or what do we call it,
yes,
Thursdays?
it's just going to be our podcast on Thursdays. I don't think we can make a little catchy, good name for that
We'll
one,
try,
but
but we'll call it Podcast Thursdays. So Topic Tuesdays, inventory walkthrough, right? Wednesdays. Is it inventory
Walkthrough Wednesdays, yes.
walkthrough Wednesdays? Dang it. I keep getting it wrong. And then Podcast Thursdays. But most importantly, be on the lookout, because we have a lot of cool new inventory. We're going to have videos. Bella's going to be organizing it on our page. So you can be on the lookout where you go to the video tabs. We'll have like the full walkthrough, so you guys don't have to just scroll through our page. We're working on making it more organized and user friendly for you guys, right?
Perfect.
Okay, well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was like, thank you everybody for joining. And we'll see y'all on the next one.
That's right. Peace, guys.